Most likely, you've never heard about this laptop, and this is gonna go under the radar for 99% of the people in the world. And I promise, you've probably never heard about this as well. You've heard of ASUS, but not this laptop, because it's got a bit of a unicorn status. But you see, the funny thing is, this laptop is actually for 99% of the people.
What if I told you that I too almost completely missed this absolute gold gem? In fact, after hearing about this laptop, I've been on emails since December with ASUS explaining to them that they need to book some ads on the channel because more people need to know about this laptop. So, rewind back to December 2025, where AI bubble was smaller and RAM was cheaper. Remember that time? Yes, I was invited to ASUS media event where they showcased the laptops that they were going to release at CES beginning of January 2026. And I was so excited about the ProArt laptops, P16, PX13, PZ14, oh, that's coming. And then ZenBooks, dual screen laptops and dual screen gaming laptops. There was a little desk in the corner of the room talking about business laptops, and I didn't even bother shooting any B-roll of the display because I thought it's irrelevant. It's for the boring business people. They make the laptops less exciting and less powerful while charging the premium. I was just saying bye to ASUS guys and I was about to leave the event until this guy started talking to me. He was holding this laptop called EXPERTBOOK ULTRA, which meant nothing to me then. 5 minutes later, I'm saying to George, my channel manager, why have I not heard about this? Why haven't we talked about this? Now, back to 2026, we've got the laptop in the studio and I plan to use it and put some mileage on this bad boy.
Very loud.
You just have to give in to the feeling. Don't you know that believing and seeing? Let me paint you a world you can dream in.
Honestly, they're very, very impressive. You all know that everybody's saying that Apple speakers are better, right? I took the MacBook Air 15-inch on the side. This one goes louder, the highs are clearer, the mids are clearer. When you put them side by side, you're going to think this is better just because this goes louder and it's crispier. Well, that Dolby Atmos badge on the side here perhaps actually means something.
You know, conference calls, you're going to have to be on a lot of the meetings and talking to people on the phone. Isn't any good with that. So I've got the MacBook Air on the side in here, and what I'm seeing is not particularly good.
Can you see how the highlight recovery here on Apple is so much better?
On my face, look at this. What is going on in here right now? Okay, it's adjusting, but still the dynamic range is horrible.
I feel like this is one of the biggest downsides of this laptop.
The actual camera here is not very good, but let me know how it sounds.
While Intel has been the underdog for the last little bit, this is where they come back swinging. This is the new Core Ultra 300 series, and it's using Intel's own wafers. Yes, their own chips. The Intel 18A CPU lithography. Yes, TSMC is gone, at least from the CPU department, and Intel is back. What's impressive is that this is roughly equivalent to TSMC's N2 2nm process, which in plain English means really flipping good.
Okay, let's put the new Intel Core Ultra to the test. So this is the Intel Core Ultra X7, 358H. Basically, we've got a really powerful GPU. So this is the ARC-B 390 GPU, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 8,533 megatransfers per second. But while in the background, I was actually doing the SSD test as well. And this is the first laptop that I have tested that has Gen 5 Nvme, 13,677 megabytes per second read and write speeds, 6,400. So this is Gen 5, and I don't actually know that this SSD exists because if you're looking at very closely, this over here, it says Samsung in there. I know that this is not the 9100 Pro that I have tested because that goes faster. So this is some kind of Samsung SSD that I have not seen announced, or perhaps they only do it for commercial. Now, it's doing lots of downloading apps and updating stuff in the background, but what I do want to test is how good is the cooling and how much power are we pulling from there. So check this over here and then see how much power are we actually pulling. 50.6 watts, 59 watts. Wow. And we're pulling 94 watts from the socket. 94 watts through the cable that comes over here. Even though this is a 90 watt charger. So if you've got a more powerful charger, perhaps you can deliver even more wattage. 94 watts we're pulling right now. These numbers and this wattage does not mean anything here right now, but I just wanted to see how loud it's gonna get, and it's very, very quiet. Unfortunately, even though this is a touchscreen, none of the ASUS pens actually work on this touchscreen.
Some outlets say that it's outperforming TSMC's N2 and even Samsung. In real-world use case, that means more power and longer battery life.
So it's time for a battery test. So while I was doing the B-roll and setting up, it's been downloading lots of things, and it's still actually downloading, as you can see. But my battery percentage, 91%. I'm gonna have to write some integrations for this laptop and some other sponsors on the channel. So I'm gonna have to do some typing and writing. So let's see the battery capacity after a little work while. So at the moment, this video is exporting and I need to edit the thumbnail for this one, which means that I'm using this EXPERTBOOK ULTRA to do that, but I'm connecting to my NAS wirelessly. So that's why having Wi-Fi 7 and fast connections to NAS is very, very helpful. So I'm gonna just put it through its paces and see if we can do that. We're still on battery, 75% remaining, but it's done lots of things in the background.
Intel is using 3 levels of cores here: performance cores, efficiency cores, and low efficiency cores. This is a clever way to maximize performance and battery life for your workflow. Now, what's the biggest performance breakthrough though is the integrated graphics. Intel Arc B390, as they'd like to call it. This is roughly equivalent to Nvidia RTX 4050 mobile GPU. Yes, that's a dedicated GPU from Nvidia, but Intel is outperforming it while consuming a lot less power. So, if you're a gamer, then that's good news for you, especially all the frame gen that they've also packed into it.
Okay, I'm just testing the screen, and this is the 1400 nit OLED, tandem OLED screen with 3K resolution, and it looks absolutely incredible. It's just absolutely, like, the details on it, no matter how close I go, it just looks absolutely fantastic. It's crazy. By the way, what I actually found out is it's also a touchscreen. And for some reason, because of the matte finish, it makes it look even nicer and more natural, because sometimes the glossy finish makes the items look too kind of, almost looks like, I don't know, AI is playing it back, but this just looks absolutely amazing. Also, this is 120 Hertz variable refresh rate, which means that it can automatically dim it down from 30 Hertz. If you're not doing anything, let's say you're just on a browser reading some kind of article, it doesn't need to refresh it 120 Hertz. It can do it at 30, saving you battery life and being smart. Really nice. Even the angles here are really amazing. And because of the matte coating, it really works absolutely amazing. Can you see how the studio light is so diffused in there? Just viewing angles are absolutely amazing. If you've seen this before and you are subscribed, double tap the screen right now. But if you haven't subscribed yet, then you're part of the 80% that are watching the videos but are not subscribed. Consider subscribing so you don't miss the future uploads. So the number one thing that convinced me about this EXPERTBOOK ULTRA is the touchpad. And this is what makes this laptop the unicorn, because for the first time ever, I can take a MacBook on the side and I'm checking the touchpads, I'm having them side by side, and I can't really tell which one is better. I can feel slight minor differences, but this is as good as it gets now. Is this where we finally catch Apple with their touchpad? This is single-handedly the best Windows trackpad that I have ever used, or touchpad. I always mix that up. Now, if I'm very nitpicking side by side Apple and ASUS, then I feel that Apple trackpad has a little bit more accelerative touch feedback with when you're moving. So the faster you move, the more the cursor actually moves on the screen, whereas ASUS is more linear. It doesn't matter how fast you move it on the touchpad, it seems to be moving the same distance, whereas Apple can go further. In terms of the click density, the MacBooks have a bit of a deeper click sound, whereas the ASUS has a little bit of a higher click sound. Now, you saw me adjust the click density all the way down to 0 or 1. I've actually now, after using it, moved it back to 2 because I think that is more close to what Apple has over here, and the 3 in the middle as it comes from standard is still a bit too much. That's your preference, you can change that. So if you don't know what haptic touchpad is, then these are two separate technologies side by side. On the left I have the ASUS EXPERTBOOK ULTRA, and on the right I have the ASUS ProArt PX13. And this type of touchpad is in most of the laptops, so maybe perhaps you don't like this, because when I was asking my team over here, both of the guys actually preferred the older non-haptic touchpad version, which is just on a hinge and you actually can see the click. So if you look very closely, you can see my finger is moving up and down, so there is a solid click. But if I move the trackpad all the way to the top, there is no click in there because this is on a hinge or on a diving board where it makes the click just like that. But the haptic on this side, so if I'm making a click on both sides, you can see how on the black version we can see a click, physical click, whereas in here we don't. This is glass, and underneath the glass there are motors, and those motors give you electric vibration feedback, very similar to what you see on your phone when you type in, for example, or on Apple touchpads. And I personally prefer this any day over that one, because I can also make the same click anywhere around this touchpad. It has exactly the same feedback, whereas the click only works on the lower side of the touchpad on this side. But this test just proved that this is personal choice and preference, and maybe you don't like that. But I think this is a fantastic touchpad and a lot better. Someone who uses laptops all the time, I really like this one. I think this is better. This is actually what's called a business laptop, as you remember from earlier. I feel like this is the first time where they didn't take the fun and good specs out of the business laptop. In fact, they gave it more than the normal non-business people. Here what we have is an incredible display, incredible interaction with the laptop, the keyboard and touchpad, which arguably are one of the most important things when interacting with content. You're typing a lot of emails, you're looking at spreadsheet, you have to click around. This is one of the nicest experience. In fact, I'm gonna say it. This is the nicest experience I have had on a Windows laptop. By far, absolutely the best. This, so light. This is 0.99 kilos. Extremely light and small chassis. And usually what we see is that this is where the performance is going to be hindered, but not on this laptop. The performance is amazing. The Intel Core Ultra Series 3 is just fascinating. It's plenty for what you need it to do. In fact, I would say that most of the time I would use this laptop on a whisper mode. You can adjust that by function F, and then you can go between 3 modes: whisper, standard, and performance. Whisper mode basically keeps this the quietest and most power efficient. And most of the time when you're doing emails and what you're doing on your workflow, that's where you want to keep it, because the battery just lasts for real a full day. I did run some benchmarks, Cinebench and Geekbench, to just get kind of the CPU benchmarks, and single core 2805 on Geekbench 6 and 16355 for multi-core, which is pretty reasonable and amazing. In terms of Cinebench, we're getting 119 points for single and 1035 points for multi-core score. In terms of multi-core performance, this is somewhere between the M4 and M5 on MacBook. The last thing for a business that's important is security. And in here, again, ASUS excels. It's got lots of security features that you've probably never heard of, but is very, very important for businesses. Also, it's got durability ratings of military grade, and this is what I'm really happy to see. As well as being light and thin that usually we see cheap materials used, this is amazing. And this is one of the only laptops that I have seen where I've used this for like a week. I haven't wiped it clean, like whatsoever. And it looks brand new. I've given it to other people to test. We've used B-roll for it. I could shoot the thumbnail right now and it looks brand new. You can't put fingerprints on it. Whatever magic fingerprint coating they did on this one, it just really works. It looks minimalistic, it looks slim, and it's got everything you need. The last thing that I haven't talked about is the ports. And usually when we go with MacBook Air, there is the Apple tax what we start to feel because there is no USB Type A or HDMI ports. Here, what we have is Thunderbolt port on both sides. We've got HDMI port and USB Type A port, headphone and combo jack, and another USB Type A port and a Thunderbolt port, which means that connectivity, I can't ask any more of this. Like literally, you don't need any more. A business person is not going to use SD cards. You're not going to have any other ports that you might need. So this is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I have heard some internal, talks from ASUS that whoever was in charge of this laptop did a bit of a Linus and basically just want to create the perfect laptop for themselves. And this is what they came out with. And whoever that person is, can I just say that, can we give them a raise, promotion, give them a big well done? Because this is the best laptop that ASUS has for this year for 99% of the people. Watch my words. I think this laptop is gonna get the most awards, the best awards from like anything that you can get business-wise. The gamers are not gonna look at it and people most likely are not gonna hear it, but whoever is gonna take a look at this, it's just gonna get award because it's got the excitement, it's got the performance, it's just got everything. The only downside is that webcam. That's it. One more thing, ASUS did not sponsor this video. They don't get to see anything that's happened with this video, but we did make a deal that they would promote this laptop with ads on other videos. But I made it cleverly so that in the other videos, the ad pushes you to watch this video, which is unsponsored, and they don't really know that because I don't want them to sponsor this video, even though I wouldn't let them see the video anyway, but I don't want you to feel like they've influenced me to say something about this laptop, which is not the case. I've got some awesome information for creators. As you know, we benchmark hundreds of GPUs and CPUs and other tech on the channel for creators. If you scan this QR code over here, you get access to our internal data and benchmark database. There's also a link in the video description below if you want to check that out. And we'll also be sending you my 3 tips for optimizing your PC that I also do for video editing. So if you're interested in that, scan that QR code. If you have any other questions or requests, check out Minect in the video description below. I'll always get back to my Minect messages 100% and very fast. So if you want that, link in the description below. If you'd like to stay up to date with the tech and information that's important for creators, highly recommend signing up to our mailing list, which you can scan through this QR code or find the link in the description below as well. And this is for people who don't have time to always search for the information, but just want the right information to land directly into their email box. And I am not a big fan of spamming inbox because I'm one of you guys. So I've just created a way how you can get access to the best information relevant for you. And hey, if you've reached this far, then YouTube thinks that this is one of the videos that you'll like next. And actually hitting that like button, it makes a difference. Subscribe with bell to not miss any of the future uploads. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much guys for watching. Bye-bye.